You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Everywhere I land, a woman appears.
In every dream, I'm there.
She doesn't know why, but she remembered them.
Doctor, there's something wrong.
Whatever it is, here it comes.
Hey there, Whovians. Welcome to almost the end of the season already. It just feels like we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like, oh my God, new Doctor Who is right around the corner. I can't believe it. And now we only have one more episode left after this. And
so
boy, did they leave us on a cliffhanger on this one. We're looking at the legend of Ruby Sunday. It is going to be a pretty amazing story to talk about. We are going to spoil the crap out of this, folks.
How exciting! Spoilers!
So please, if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't had a chance to, watch it 4 or 5 times, please go ahead and do this, because it was wow. Just go wow for the right now. We got a great crew to talk all about this, and to join you guys at home who are following us either on YouTube or we're listening to the podcast. Thank you as always. We do appreciate you guys. Let's say hey to our crew for tonight. Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
All the way through the season already, my friend.
Almost. Got one more episode left. Don't jinx it.
I'm not going to jinx it. I'm ready for Cyber Brigadier to show up. What do you mean?
Oh, man.
Oh, man. You had to go there.
Yeah,
of course I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Ms. Mary Ogle, howdy.
Hello, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
And she means it this time, folks. She really does.
really mean it this time.
Oh, yes, she does. Every time she said it during the Chibnall era.
It was, I was lying.
She was lying.
Wow.
So what is that, a minute into the episode?
Exactly.
Well, for us, that's pretty good for us.
That's pretty good for us. Hey, I think we held off pretty much. Got a great crew and have guests to join us tonight. Welcome, of course, back to the show, Shannon Clute.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys?
Good. What has your view been for the beginning of the season so far?
I love it because there's so much that is obviously Russell T. Davies and how he tells Doctor Who stories, which I absolutely love. But there's been a lot of stuff where I'm like, that doesn't track with like the Who that I know. And so I'm very intrigued to see where things are going, because it's stuff that I'm not expecting.
Sure.
So it's interesting. I'm on guard, but I'm enjoying it.
Fair enough. Totally fair enough. Chip, welcome back to the show, sir.
How we doing?
Good. He's got
Sonic
a Sonic
ready to
folks. Go. Hey, at least you have the true Sonic, not the Sonic TV remote that Shooty's been having all season. So, how are you? What's your thoughts on the season so far?
There have been some episodes that I've really liked. Obviously, that probably the obvious list, so I'm not even going to really go. There's some issues I'm having with Davies. I feel like and we may get into this when we get into the season, but I feel like he's kind of losing some of the subtlety he had back during his first era, and it's kind of been wearing on me a little bit. It's not that opinions aside, it's some of the subtlety, and I haven't there's been some episodes that have been a little too childish, for lack of a better term, for me this season. So, overall, I've enjoyed it. I think when Ncuti does a great job with the character he's been given, and I really like Ruby Rose. I really hope after this season we don't get another mystery companion for a while. Just let us have a fun companion and then maybe have a mystery at the end.
Mm-hmm.
but
she doesn't have to be the most important person in the universe.
Yeah, just pull a Donna Noble. If you have to have the mystery, have it show up in the last 3 episodes. Don't make it the plot of the season.
That's totally understandable. All right. Very cool. And joining us for the very first time, Charles Martin.
Am I on? I'm on. Okay.
You're on.
Hi, everybody. I'm Charles. I live in Victoria, BC, but I have been a longtime North American Doctor Who fan forever. I've contributed to books about it. I've done podcasts about it. What haven't I done? I was one of those annoying PBS fundraisers. Remember those guys?
Ooh, yes.
But it worked. I got you
That
some Doctor Who, so hey. And I'm very, very pleased to be here. Always happy to chat about Doctor Who. And this season,
what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are that, remember, it's been a gap. It's been a little while since we had Jodie. And Russell has retooled for the mandate that he's been given, which is get the under 30s and the under 30 years old. And I feel like he's doing a good job because this show is WTF every single week. What? Huh? How does this connect to, wait, there is something, but, so I think this is the WTF TV show of the season. And, we can talk about the ratings a little later, but so far it is intriguing. I would call the right people.
Gotcha. No, I totally understand that. So awesome, folks. I think we're going to have a lot to talk on. So we're going to dive in. There's no Doctor Who news really other than this episode. And, literally as soon as the episode aired, I was at a concert and my friend Mike Faulkner said, keep off the internet till you watch the episode and get to all the way through the credits.
Good
and it
advice.
was just like, okay. So, and after watching it, I've watched it 3 times already. And every time I'm seeing something different and finding something. And it's just like, this is so much fun that we get. And did we get some answers? Yes, we got 1 or 2 answers, but now we have about a zillion more questions. And I hope Russell doesn't prolong it off into multiple seasons. I hope he, finishes it off into it. Let's go around. Let's start with Mike Gordon. What were your initial thoughts on this episode?
Well, I mean, it starts off with a bang, and doesn't really relent much throughout the whole course of the episode. So it's pretty much just a build, as only RTD, part 1s of finales can do. This really feels to me like I didn't know how much I either missed this or just didn't recognize it until it was happening. I was like, oh my God, I haven't felt this way in a decade or more. It was just so exciting. Now, that said, it's not really, it's a lot of fluff. It's a lot of setup. It's a lot of just misdirect and stuff here and there. And it watching it a second time, I kind of was not as riled as I was the first time. Although I did appreciate some things the second time around as well. But I do kind of wish we got a little bit more substance in this. And with the big reveal, I do, on reflection, I keep thinking I wish this was set up a little bit better and throughout the course of the season. Because I don't think that it was, I don't know. It remains to be seen. Obviously, it's hard to judge just part 1 of a 2-part story. But as far as right now goes, I just feel like it just seems like this. Unfortunately, I kind of heard this rumor prior to this episode. So I wasn't completely gobsmacked, surprised, and shocked that Sutek showed up at the end. And so I kind of wish, I don't know, maybe it would have hit me differently if I had. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, I don't know if the seeds that he's been sowing so far have really added up to that yet. So I'm kind of curious as to see how the second part is. Really curious to see about the second part. But of course, I mean, I like RTD as well. I like him a lot. Sometimes he has a little trouble sticking the landing. So we'll see how that goes. And he set up so many things to resolve. I know we're getting an extra few minutes next week and a 55-minute episode, I think. So he's going to need every single minute of that.
I agree with that. Okay,
Yep.
Charles, what about you? Initial thoughts.
This I have to start off with a pet peeve. I don't have very many criticisms of this season, actually, but one of the criticisms that I have that I feel is very valid is Russell writes 90-minute films and squeezes them into 45-minute episodes. And this did feel awfully compressed. It should have been a 3-part special, in my opinion. But I was, just like with Boom and just like with 73 Yards and all the other really dramatic stories this season, I was right on the edge of my seat the whole time. And I have to give myself a tiny bit of credit. I figured it out, big reveal, when Susan Triad said, "Call me Sue." Then I figured it out. But only then. I was completely separate. And then when it actually happened, I was completely surprised to hear that familiar voice once again. So,
it was so
thrilled.
awesome that they got the actual actor who did, Sutek's voice.
He's 91.
And 91 years old. And he still sounds amazing.
Pretty intimidating.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I do not want to make that guy mad. But to me, it was a thrilling episode in the way that Rogue was not. And I'm not criticizing Rogue here. That was a completely different kind of story. After all those tense stories that we had, like Boom and 73 Yards, suddenly we had this lighter story. And I kind of needed that. But now we're back into it. So now my blood pressure is all up and stuff.
Okay. Awesome. Chip.
Can I kind of mirror what a lot of people are saying about I'm worried about him sticking the landing. There's also some of the dangling plot threads. I will completely admit I did not see Sutek coming at all. I apologize. Excuse me, it's a cat. I did not see that coming
It's
at all.
Sutek behind you.
It's
Yes!
Sutek. The black mist.
Assistant the cat. Sorry.
If the cat says she brings you the gift of death, you should run.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't see that coming.
The
but then,
Egyptians did like cats.
I think they all say
It
that.
is.
They all do. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, like I said, I kind of agree with Mike that Davies has kind of a problem sticking landings a lot of times. Sometimes he's really good, like Bad Wolf was a really good setup and payoff, and then sometimes he didn't quite do it. I'm a little worried about the number of threads he's left, and the pet peeve I'm going to kind of say for this episode was Susan. Not the character, not Susan the character, but the granddaughter. Like, and it is a combination of things. It's like my wife, who is not a big like lore person like I am, was like, wait, the doctor had a granddaughter? Okay, so there's a lot of the under 30 crowd that are like, wait, who's that? Because she hasn't been on since First Doctor. Really, as a character person on camera.
Right. The only other time she's appeared is the Five Doctors.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I liked the little joke that they made about you had a granddaughter before you had a daughter. Time Lords. Okay, that was a funny way to sort of get around this sort of big issue that's been around who were Susan's parents. I don't want them to bring Susan back. Like I feel like Susan was one of those characters that got a happy ending. She was one of the few that has been in the TARDIS that kind of had a good, went away ending, wasn't just let her, it's kind of some of the issue I've had with a lot of the new Who is they keep trying to bring back these characters from the really classic series. And it's like, sometimes it works. Like I think Sutek as a villain worked really well. He was a good deep lore dive that you kind of got the reference if you did and it still worked. But I just really like, I'm hoping that they're not going to reveal like the neighbor was Susan the whole time or something. Just let it go after this. But because it's like the
we'll
third
get
time it's been brought
get
up.
into Mrs. Flood in a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's
Yeah.
part of the list today. All right, let's hear what the ladies have to say. Let's go for Shannon first.
I enjoyed this episode because it's Who.
Right.
And like there's just so much to love about it. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it was almost like two stories meshed into one, and that's why it's a part two.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have like, hey, who's Susan Triad? Let's figure this out. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but by the way, like, let's figure out who, Ruby's mom is, all at the same time. Like, really, y'all? Can we not prioritize one thing over the other? Do we have to figure out both things at the same time? Like, I just felt like it was too much all at once.
Right.
So there was like a part of me who was like, wait, what's important? What do I need to be following? Because I feel like there's just too much going on in this storytelling. But I think it was done really well. Like, I do like a lot of the nods to the old stuff, when you have Mel coming back and you have Sutek and like all that kind of fun stuff. I did agree. I thought the bringing up the granddaughter was a little odd, especially if like it's not going to go anywhere. Like it was almost like a red herring, but like a weird red herring.
But it's not the first time this season he's brought her up. And which is interesting because the last time they had any reference to Susan was during the end of the Capaldi season. And when he was had his office as a college professor, he had pictures of Susan, of River Song, and and it was just interesting that he had his family up there. But we haven't since then heard anything about it until this season, and at least in this episode, it's not all of a sudden he brought up, oh, my granddaughter. He's brought her up in the Devil's Cord. Out there, when he was on the rooftop with Ruby.
Yeah, I still just think it was a little like, oh, they have the same name. Like,
there's a lot of
Susan's
Susans
a pretty
out
common
in the world,
name.
but
like, I felt like it was like a little like too much like it might be the granddaughter. Oh, you have to like pay attention to that, and it's like, it's just I don't know. There was like a lot of things it just didn't hit right. Even though the episode's completely enjoyable, I absolutely love it. I love how Ruby and Rose got along. I thought that was beautiful. I love Morris. He's a cute little nugget.
Oh, Morris is awesome.
Yeah.
But
we'll get into him in a few minutes too. I have thoughts on that. So, all right.
Even though it's an enjoyable episode, I have my questions.
Well, hopefully we'll answer some of these this evening. All right, Ms. Mariogo.
To me, this was like such a love letter to Doctor Who. I mean, it has everything in it that I love about Doctor Who, like comic moments, dark moments, nods to classic Who that aren't necessary for everybody to know to enjoy the episode, but are fantastic if you're somebody who does know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I just adore this episode. I do have to agree that I have reservations about RTD second RTD's follow up to this, because he has a pattern of a great first episode of a two-parter and a not so great second episode. But who knows? We'll see where it goes. So, I'm also kind of worried he might bring David Tennant back, and I really do not want that to happen. Because I think that would really take away from Ncuti's mastery of the Doctor's character.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one thing I did really like is that I love that the Doctor is more open about his emotions, but it was starting to get to me in the sense that it takes away from the power of exhibiting those emotions if you keep doing it in every single episode, which is what was happening. And I loved that Mel called him on it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That when he had his little breakdown, she was like, look, this is not the time or place. Get up off your ass.
You did not send that man to his death and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was interesting.
He did actually send that man to his death. He
No,
did. I mean, it's in the episode. He said go there. Kate said don't go there. He said no, go there. I order you. The guy went over there and he died. It literally sent him to his death.
He did direct the man to go there. I mean,
but this is also a guy who signed up to work for UNIT.
Sure,
exactly. Most people who work for UNIT die.
Only the literal definition of sending a man to his death.
Exactly. Well, you know what? It's interesting too, because this episode felt like a true pilot for the upcoming UNIT spinoff that we're rumored to be getting. And I liked it a lot. I love the characters. I love you had Colonel Abraham back. I liked him a lot. And I loved how he saluted the TARDIS as it came in. And I loved Morris. Morris was awesome. It's like, I'm almost starting, and I said this to Mary the other day, it almost starting to feel like the scientific advisors of UNIT are like the drummer in Spinal Tap, pretty much. They come and go, boom, boom, boom. Because where's Osgood? Where's Shirley? And where's
Shirley is apparently coming back.
She is coming back.
Finally,
they've already said she's been that she's already going to be back for season 2. So, but I don't want to see anything bad happen to Morris because I like the character, and I think he's brilliant the way they did that, and how they introduced him, and he's a 13-year-old genius. I just loved that. It was just really well done. But I loved Kate Stewart. She is just awesome.
I think can carry a show.
I think
absolutely carry a show.
I think Gemma Redgrave is the underrated MVP of this series of New Who. I mean, ever since they've introduced her, whenever she comes on, she just nails it. She has great moments. She's had great moments with almost every Doctor, and other characters that she's encountered as well. She's so solid, and I mean, sure, I would love to have a show that features her all the time, but I've always appreciated her, but in this particular story, she does a lot of work here. And a lot of moments that happen in this are because of her performance and what she brings to the table and the way the character is written too. But I think she's just amazing. And, I don't hear enough people talk about how good she is.
She's a true leader in this story.
And she
that's
also
wonderful.
calls the Doctor out on his stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, she is angry, and
Mary,
she portrays that really
list?
well.
Are you looking at my
yes,
bullet
I
list?
am.
Yeah. Well, they have that beautiful scene. It's one of my favorite scenes. Where he's asking. She's asking her. She's asking him about his granddaughter, and you get that whole. That whole kind of funny thing about like, oh, I can have, a granddaughter without having met my children yet, blah, 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 Time Lords and all that. And that's waved away. But, then it gets really serious when he says, she's like, why haven't you visited her? And he's like, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, I bring disaster, I don't want to ruin her. To Chip's point, she had a happy ending. I don't want to ruin that. And then Kate says, I think you bring joy, gives him a big hug. It's only like what, 20 minutes later when she looks at him as if like she has been betrayed, and that bring joy. She's not thinking that then. I'll tell you that when she's looking at him, it's such a different, and it's great to have those two moments juxtaposed within minutes of each other. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like Gemma makes that whole sequence work.
And it still works within her character, because we saw that in the 60th anniversary specials when the toy maker, she, as they're walking away, she's like, I want to know the name of everybody that was on this base. Yep. So it continues to track with her character that she cares about everybody at UNIT. So the thing that pisses her off the most is that he let this guy, he caused this man to die. So that is what is,
and she went against his orders, and he died. That really, it was really a great setup to that, and a great payoff there. And, I mean, we know that she still, is going to support and appreciate the Doctor and everything like that. So it's not like it's a big bone of contention between them, but it's great. I mean, it's just great to have someone of her caliber. I mean, she's definitely her mother's daughter.
Very much so.
With what she brings, the lineage that she brings, the class that she brings to this, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it.
So it's pretty awesome though, because I think, like I said, this is the basis, I think, of what we're going to get in next year in a spinoff, and I'm all for it, because hell, you even got the Lynx got an upgrade. He's not all rusty and yucky looking as he was before.
Can we just
Rust-Oleum can do amazing things.
Exactly.
I am not sold on Vinx. I'm sorry. I'm just not sold on him. He doesn't need to be there. He adds nothing. And to me, I was shocked when I watched the behind the scenes to see that there was an actor stuffed in that thing for like a whole day or whatever that he's filming it, because I'm just like, you could use a puppet for this. Now, granted, it would probably take 2 or 3 people to operate a puppet as opposed to just having a dude in a suit. But the poor guy who's in the suit doesn't even do the voice. It's Nicholas Briggs who does the voice. And to be honest with you, he hasn't added anything as far as I'm concerned to this story or any of the other times he's been there. And I think he's more
there for the kids and everything. He's,
Yeah, I think he's just there for fun.
Exactly.
Maybe, but I don't even find him fun.
You're not a kid either.
But maybe
too.
people of a different age might.
I would have liked him to work with Morse a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you have like Boy Genius, let him work with the robot a little bit more. Like have them be like almost like a duo.
But I would love to see that. But there's only so much they could do in this little 48 minutes or something we got.
I also think
when they were working in the time room.
Yeah.
What's the point of having a robot that isn't also a vacuum? What is the point?
I agree. He has all those
I also
tubes.
Think, since we're talking about Unit 2, it's nice to see Rose again, but
Rose
she doesn't do
awesome.
anything in this at all either.
She
and
does nothing.
in fact, she, to Mary's point, she kind of adds to the whole like, okay, if she's in danger, then that's reason enough to bring David Tennant, to bring 14 and Donna back in. And if they don't show up, it's kind of like, why wouldn't they show up? Because this is a major event happening, and they're and Rose is there in part of it. Like, so I think she just adds more complications. So to me, she was an indicator that we would see 14 and Donna again. But I hope that's not true, or that she adds something to the story in the second part. But there's so much stuff going on, I don't know what she could do.
Yep.
I will just point out from my notes that when Ncuti talks to Rose, the first thing he says is, "How's your mother?"
Yeah.
And then
How's
he
your
says,
uncle?
"How's your uncle?"
Uncle, right? Uncle.
Uncle David Tennant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See,
because there wasn't an uncle in their first meetup, so apparently the uncle is David.
You bringing up Rose actually was one of the things that really bothered me in this episode, not because it really caused an issue for me in this episode, because 14 not showing up, the time, even within the episode, the time that they had, it makes sense that maybe Donna and 14 David Tennant haven't caught up. But it made me think back to 73 Yards and kind of detracted from that episode, because all I could think with that episode was, where was 14? You would think the first person that Unit would call in when the Doctor goes missing is the other Doctor that is currently running around in Great Britain. So,
yeah, especially if they need to get into a TARDIS.
Or they have this weird monster and it's his last companion. So it bugged me more because it retroactively made 73 Yards have a plot hole in a weird way that wasn't brought up here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those things, though. It's just like, I saw this so many times in like comic books or something where it's like, the Avengers just happened to be on a mission that week. So it's like,
where's Superman that time?
So yeah, so
exactly.
I think if at the beginning, if the Doctor had said like, "How's your uncle? How's your mom?" or whatever, and she had said, "Oh, they're doing something," and that means that they're gone, so we don't have to worry about them coming in and saving the day. That would have been probably better. But then give her something to do. like she doesn't do anything. So not yet anyway, but we'll see.
Right.
Well,
Did
she
anyone
shows
have-
how short Millie is. That's important to her.
Oh, Millie is tiny compared to Yasmin.
He shows how short Shooty is.
Yeah, that's true.
She was
true.
taller than him.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Which is cool. But did you guys have any suspicions about Harriet at all?
No, I didn't know nothing.
Did you
about
just
her.
think she was another unit person?
Yeah.
and
I'm
everything?
going to say this. She reminded me of Freema in her first episode.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what she kind of reminded me of, especially like when she did change. I was like, oh my goodness, that's like Freema. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right.
Well, I thought it was.
I kind of like that.
I like the whole anagram thing and how the doctor, when he showed up, and it's like, there's this woman who's been following, seeing everywhere, and they were like, oh, this person, and it's an anagram, and all of the unit members were like, yeah, we know, doctor.
We figured that out.
We figured that one out.
We know that RTD loves to use anagrams. We were on that. Yeah.
Well, but it was funny.
He's got a history.
Funny as
Remember
hell,
Torchwood?
Even Colonel Abraham was like, I even knew that one, doctor. And it was like, okay. But
I just like to point out though that the final bit where we figure out the villain is not an anagram. It's wordplay.
I know.
It's wordplay.
I that as a grammar, as an editor, that annoyed me too. I'm like, that's not an anagram. That's not.
No,
but
exactly.
I'm like, all right, I'll let you have it. I know what you're going for, so I'll let you have it. But I mean, it was kind of, I don't know, I'll give RTD credit, a little bit of like clever credit, because it was kind of clever to put that together like that. But yeah, it's not an anagram.
Mm-hmm. What did you think of the idea of, the Susan storyline in this? With her, she wasn't actually a bad person or anything, or as Mel said, she's actually a nice person and she's going to give her software out to the world, type thing. Where did you guys think that was going? Did it go the direction you guys thought, or what?
It didn't surprise me when it turned out she was possessed.
Yes.
I mean, it didn't surprise me that she turned out to be something other than what she was. But that just makes it more tragic that she's just being used by this villain. I mean, that's what happened in Pyramid of Mars also. Sutek just goes around,
using and killing. That's what he does, using and killing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
I feel so stupid that when Shooty took Millie to a future London, that replay of a scene from Pyramids of Mars, why didn't I figure it out then? Why didn't we all figure it out then?
Well, we even brought it up in that episode. It was like, this is right from Pyramids of Mars. This is what the doctor did with Sarah Jane. And so it was just interesting to see. And I enjoyed, the ride of it, though. I thought it was done really well. I'm glad we got to see, Carla, and we got to see, the grandmother, and then we got Mrs. Flood even.
Shady Mrs. Flood.
Mrs. Flood.
She twisted nicely. That was a fine bit of acting. And that line about how she hides herself away. Ooh.
Yes.
There's more to come from her.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Chip, but if I had to put any money on Susan being in this story, it's Mrs. Flood.
And again, I guess for me, it'd be like the only way I would be okay with that being Susan is end of the episode. Everybody kind of walks away and she calmly walks into a little room. You hear, woo, woo, and then disappears. Like, just don't make her a character. I want her to let, it's kind of like you let the character have the ending. The only character that I've ever been happy about them bringing back, even from New Who, is Donna. And that's just because her ending was kind of left open. Everybody else, they've all had their endings. Let them go. We've played in the sandbox, put the toys away. Let's get some new characters.
I would love to, though, see some, in Big Finish, they've done stories with Susan. And
they've done stories with Sutek, too.
Yeah, well, of course they do. They even had Sutek stories in the comics.
Yep.
And so it's just interesting stuff. But I would love, as long, if Mrs. Flood is Susan, the doctor's granddaughter, I wish it would have been, and I don't think she is. I really do not think she is. That Carol Ann Ford is still alive. She's the last of the original crew. Please use her in something, and
that's the only, I think that'll be the one thing that, will really bring the Susan storyline home and together. Like, it doesn't work. I don't think it works unless somehow Carol Ann Ford comes back and makes some sort of appearance, whether it's, for a few minutes, whatever, some past thing or something, just to have that. I mean, we just recently lost William Russell, and I was, I said that I wish he was used better in New Who. And I feel the same way about Carol Ann Ford, especially now that they've brought, you don't bring up that name without really paying it off in some ways. And
exactly.
I think that has to happen next episode somehow.
I think they will. I think what'll happen is that at the 40-minute mark, the main crisis has been resolved, and Ncuti will be pondering on the things that have been said to him about Susan, and he'll go to the year 2164 where she lives. I don't know why everybody has missed this except me, but he'll go to where she is.
You're the smartest man in the room, Charles. That's why.
or he'll go back to 1963 and see her then, and we'll get a CGI Carol Ann Ford. But whatever they do, I hope he will ponder on that and go, "You're right. I need to visit my granddaughter," and go.
Yes.
But yes, if they don't, and if somebody else is playing Carol Ann Ford's part, I will riot.
Oh yeah, no, I agree completely with that. It would be a crime if they don't use her to be Susan.
Yeah.
At
but
least,
to get back to Mrs. Flood, I'm not.
But hold on, let me say, what I'd like to see if they do something with her to continue the character, either have her go off into the sunset somehow, or have her start glowing, and regenerate, and she doesn't have to travel with the doctor. Let her go off and do whatever, type thing. But the same way that we never saw what happened to the doctor's daughter, So I think we definitely are due that, at least, and I think it would be a disservice.
I have to point out that Mrs. Flood, it's a kind of unusual name. What usually causes floods?
A river.
Rain. Rain. And what's rain an anagram?
Yeah.
Just think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's my stupid fan theory that is wrong, but it's mine.
Of course. It's your theory. So, I've heard
RTD does love those
theories.
anagrams.
Yes. The theories for Mrs. Flood are almost as much as what was, whatever Susan Twist's, identity was all over the board. So we're not going to guess that here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, I guess
I do have one.
Because
I think it's pretty good.
Of Mrs. Flood?
Yeah. Mrs. Flood. Let's hear.
I think she's the god of disaster.
Ooh.
That's a
I think she's the god of disaster. She's like, I've been hiding myself away, which all of the gods have been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, as the storm was rolling in, he waits no more. At the beginning, in the first 3 episodes with Tennant and everything, she was there. She recognized the TARDIS. She recognized the Doctor. She knew what was happening. And
he said, I bring disaster.
And
he said it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think...
She's certainly not bringing anybody tea.
No.
I think that she may be one of the gods.
I want to see that at the end of the episode. Somebody finally bringing that poor grandmother a cup of tea.
She never gets a cup of tea.
That's all she wants.
The last thing of this episode used to be
she just wants a cuppa.
The 15th Doctor handing her a cuppa, and that's the end of the episode.
Give Candy a cuppa. Give Candy a cuppa.
Oh, bless you. You are a nice young man, aren't you?
The god of disaster was named. Oh, what was it? Started with an I.
Incensor.
Incensor.
Thank you. Doubt and dread. and the
Yes.
children.
The children, or the mother of doubt and dread.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we have Malice, Mischief, and Misery. Yeah, they gave us a whole, they told us a bunch of names in this about the Pantheon and who are, I guess, are members and who are not or whatever. And I don't know. I'm still trying to process all that. I know that's one of the things on your list, Mike. So,
why don't we go through the list right now?
I guess we're led to believe with all the stuff that Sutek and his Harbinger is saying, spouting at the end of this, that he is claiming himself as the father of the Pantheon. He is claiming himself as the leader of the Pantheon of all these
the
gods.
God of gods.
So apparently he got because he got before in Periods of Mars, he was kicked out by the sirens, right? Yep. And so put into to a trap, and then so he was staying there. He was stuck there, and then somebody let him out, and then all that, and the doctor traps him again. So he finally has gotten out of the void, and now has got up with another group of disgruntled or discord,
the discord,
gods or whatever entities, and how has declared himself as the mother, father, and other of the Pantheon. So so he's with it.
He's pretty hip in that.
He's politically correct.
He's got the he, she, they, like that thing.
He's got his pronouns.
He's got his pronouns.
One of the theories with that was kind of interesting was in the comics, because in the Tom Baker episode, the Doctor trapped Sutek in the time vortex.
Yeah, the time tunnel.
The time tunnel, exactly. In the comics, the Doctor asked how he had escaped, and he said he sidestepped into the void, which basically the void is where the Doctor and Donna were with the Wild Blue Yonder, and with that ship.
So it's all their fault.
Exactly, but
that's how That's how he hitched a ride.
Well, exactly, and
that's the other thing we don't know. We don't know how long that Sutek has been sort of attached to the TARDIS.
The first time you hear it is in Wild Blue Yonder. It starts making that noise.
And
so it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so my question to that is, because Wild Blue Yonder happens before the giggle. In the giggle, Shooty takes the duplicates the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Makes a TARDIS of it, copies and pastes a new TARDIS, and I'm kind of okay, so how did that happen with him attached? That just seems weird, but
well, I actually thought maybe that Sutek attached himself because Shooty, duplicated the TARDIS using the toy maker's hammer, and that's how he was able to.
That's how he got in.
Exactly. That was my thought.
Yep.
On it. So, but then when I went back and, I actually watched recently the Tenet episodes, the 3-parters, and I remember hearing the groaning in that episode. And also the TARDIS was also playing Wild Blue Yonder. It's what?
It's also in the Beatles episode, right?
Yeah, it was in. It appeared. It made that noise 3 times in Wild Blue Yonder, also Devil's Chord, and then also in Rogue. So it was just interesting, and this also maybe explains why the TARDIS didn't open for Ruby in the 74 yards. Okay.
73
yards. I gave it an extra yard. What the hell? But it was cool.
There's a part where, after Susan Twist has been changed into Riff Raff.
Yeah.
And she says, did you think we were family? And everyone thinks that they're referring to Susan. But I wonder if they're actually referring to the Pantheon of Gods. Because RTD was still, not giving up on the timeless child thing. And there's been lots of speculation that the Doctor is one of the Pantheon of Gods. So I thought that was an interesting thing for her to say.
Mm-hmm. I thought of that
He's
also.
the god of wardrobe changes. apparently.
He's the god of fashion.
Marketing. You know,
he is a
awesome.
fabulous god.
Yes. Well,
God of fabulous. There you go.
God of fabulous.
It has been one of my pet peeves this season. I'm sure it's.
Yeah, Mike Gordon has complained.
Did he change his
I didn't
clothes
complain.
like a normal person?
I did not complain. Let's make that clear.
Okay.
I just questioned the marketing
you
aspect
basically
of it.
said that, you know, the doctor
I didn't
doesn't
say
have
I
any
hated it.
set.
I didn't say I didn't
I
like
didn't
it.
say you hated it. You complained about it. That, you know, this doctor doesn't have one set.
I
outfit.
pointed it out, and I just wondered if it was a great marketing. But I just put marketing wise, if that was a good idea. That's all I asked.
And Shuti's actually said in interviews they said that they were going to do that this is something, and he's like, "Oh, I'm the fashionista doctor." It's the way he's described it. For me, it's not the outfit. There's nothing iconic. There's nothing that says this doctor. So if you were to put them in a shadow and take the bodies out, you could spot everybody else. You could kind of piece them out, and even they change. Like Capaldi changed a lot. A lot of his outfit shifted around, but he still had a basic silhouette. It's been bugging me this season. There is no like distinctive.
I think he should have just stayed
Really?
with the leather jacket and the kilt. He would have been classic in that.
I'm sorry,
coat
Chip.
is-
I'm sorry. It's really obvious and it's right there. So I'm sorry, but you could tell Shuti's like apart from any of the other people played the doctor. I mean, it's not like it's not.
Actually,
you don't
it wasn't
have
his
to look that
idea.
hard.
It was the costume department. He actually came out in a interview recently. The costume lady, when he came in to like figure out what he was going to wear as the doctor, was like, "Oh, honey, you're not wearing just one outfit. You got all of these."
Yes.
And he was like, "Oh, okay, that works," and he was cool with it.
Disney
But-
money. All right.
I think it just, you know, I mean, to your point, and yes, from a marketing standpoint, I get it. And that's why I brought up the question before. But also in store, like as far as watching the episodes, you know, who's defining the doctor? That's up to, you know, he's getting no handicap here. It's all up on Nishuti's, like he has to be the one. Like if he enters that room, he has to be like, you know, give me the lovin'. Like he has to like own the room, which he does. He has no problem with that. So I have no problem inside the universe of him being like the doctor. But yes, from a marketing standpoint, it's like it would be nice if he had something that was easily recognizable and quote unquote iconic.
Well, just think of
He
all
does
the
tend to favor
varieties
long
of Funko
coats.
Pops we're going to get because of all the different costumes. So it's awesome.
He does
So
sort
I'm
of
pretty
favor long coats like the doctor traditionally does, but not always, like
No.
this most recent episode.
No.
So I'm okay with it.
No, I originally thought I loved what I saw with the brown plaid jacket and brown plaid pants and the orange shirt. I thought that would have been a great classic look for
It
him.
was definitely a way to differentiate him in the present and in 2024 and 2004 when they were in the past and when you saw that, which I thought actually, even though I thought that went on a little long, I did think it was really well done. Like it just looked beautiful. The way that they sort of brought this old scratchy VHS thing to like life in some sort of virtual reality, and we're playing around with it. I just thought, yeah, this looks amazing.
An early version of the holodeck from Star Trek, basically.
Yeah, that's why he's just laughing at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how all the controls look like they're from 60s Star Trek.
Yeah, like crank down.
Oh,
I read somewhere
love that, too.
that was not all green screen, that it was holographic, that some of it was holographic projection.
Yes,
yeah,
it
so
was.
making of.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
It's really great.
Disney money.
You know, I love how, you know, the doctor says, you know how I told you guys, you know, back in the 1970s, never play around with time travel. And she says, no, we've never done that, doctor. All right, where's your, you know, basically, where is it? And he says 10 floors below. I love that. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. That whole scene was just great. And I love that they had Carla there, you know, to, you know, almost like narrate and like, oh, the mother, you know, she's crying. You could see how sad she was. My theory is she's not crying. Truthfully. I think she's
Or is it even the mother? We don't even know.
No, you don't know it's the mother.
Yeah.
I think it's the trickster.
I don't think she's pointing at the doctor.
No.
I think she's pointing at the TARDIS.
At the TARDIS.
The TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think she knows Sutek is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the costume is, basically the trickster. And so it's just,
it's also very similar to what Jodie wore in her very first appearance, not the first episode she was in, but the teaser.
Wouldn't that blow people's minds if she pulled the hood down and was Jodie?
That would be a reveal.
That would be.
Yeah.
It would be like.
But you know what? I feel like Carla knows more than what she's saying when it comes to Ruby's mom.
I get that feeling too.
Like, I don't think she knows exactly who her mom is, but she knows something about her mom. And she's not telling anybody.
I think there's a secret there too. I do. That's why she wanted to be there. She's like, I got to be there too. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's just, suspicious minds there, but I get the sense from that too.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, yes, as an adoptive mom, you're going to want to know everything you can about your child, but there's just something that just, it doesn't sit right. I don't know how else to say it.
No, and it was just interesting. And I loved how Ruby and Carla were talking. It's like, we watch this every year at Christmas. And it's like, a snowy, blurry video. And it's not even showing the church.
I mean, I watch White Christmas on repeat, so it's okay.
But you can actually see the pictures in it. So that's all completely different.
Insert "It's a Wonderful Life" joke here.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I love that whole scene. And then, the whole thing with the smoke monster and them being able to figure out that it's another version of the TARDIS. And it was pretty awesome.
When that all started, especially when Carla kept saying, "It's the beast, the beast." I mean, I thought it was really like, it's a misdirect, but it's like, especially since Gabriel Wolf also did the voice of the beast in the Satan Pit. Like, I just got vibes from that big time. And, even sometime on reflection, I was thinking about it this weekend. I was thinking, maybe it would have been better if it was the beast instead of, there's already people trying to put that connection, like Sutek was the beast in that two-parter. And I'm like, please don't do that. Please don't take away from that two-parter and try to put that shove that into some canon just because it's the same actor. But it did have that vibe to it. And I really did think, when he said, where are you? And he finally replied, I'm in hell. I was like, oh my God, now we're like, this is the beast from that two-parter. And I would have been fine if that was the reveal. If that was one of the Pantheon, I would have been fine with that. Getting Sutek was just even more astounding.
Mm-hmm. I loved it when Susan was reading the speech and then her voice was starting to be replaced with the really deep voice. That was just,
They did that really well.
That was really, really done well. And I loved how they kept on switching back and forth between the unit headquarters and the TV studio. It was just awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's a RTD, first part of a finale. In the last 10 minutes are cut, building. Murray Gold is banging on that music, he's banging those chords. So you're you're feeling it. You're getting all hyped up. And then boom. You got to wait.
And the practical effects, the makeup on both Harriet and Susan.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh, I loved it.
But like Mary said,
Absolutely
Susan looked a little bit too much like Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
A little bit, but it worked.
Yeah, I was okay with that though.
Oh, I was okay for it too. I just wanted to see her do the time warp, so it's okay.
I mean, we got a part 2.
Yeah, we can still see it.
Yeah.
We'll still see it.
I mean, the production values for this whole season have been gorgeous. The visuals have been gorgeous. The sound design.
Thank you, Disney money.
Yeah.
Yes.
The CGI in this episode was sick. It was pretty
they
awesome.
really have done a great job.
I have to say that the cinematography got much better in the Chibnall era, actually, but and sound and companions for that matter. But I have a lot to say about that, but never mind. There's definitely Disney money here, no question about it. But yeah, cinematography, they've been on the ball on that for a while now.
I watched the making of this episode, and I love how they did the TARDIS entering unit headquarters. They threw a tennis ball down the middle of the aisle, and everyone had to follow it like it was the TARDIS. And it was just like,
that's awesome.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
but that's typical RTD. I mean, there's no reason that the TARDIS should come screaming, barreling down into unit headquarters. It just should all of a sudden just appear like it always does every time we've seen it before. But because he wants this grand entrance for this big epic story, no reason whatsoever, he just puts it in there because RTDs. Oh, and this is a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. But it's what you get with RTD.
Not the only time it's done that.
It's an emotional thing.
It's done it multiple times this season.
Seems like it's a unit thing in particular, but yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I thought there was like a thing where he couldn't actually get like phase into unit. Like they had like a shield or something like that. So like he can't like just pop in and out whenever he wants.
Like that.
Yeah.
TARDIS proof. Why would you make unit TARDIS proof when the doctor works for you, or works with you? Like, why would you do that?
The same reason
unit is also to protect against the doctor if need be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the same reason the prime minister can't have access.
Well,
exactly.
You're comparing the doctor to the prime minister. We have a problem, sir.
And the master also has a TARDIS, so
exactly. We saw that at the end of the Jodie era. What happened?
That was my favorite line in the whole thing was, "We'll get him." Except for that other one we haven't caught. We caught so many, but not that one. We'll get him.
Yeah,
exactly. That was pretty awesome.
Yep.
That was a nice little nod.
Beautiful moment.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Has the TARDIS really properly materialized or dematerialized at all this season? I can't think of any.
I mean,
it did. It properly materialized in Carla's apartment.
It did in 73 yards.
In the apartment.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 73 yards. There wasn't any problems.
I mean, we saw it in the hologram as well.
We didn't see it in Rogue appear. It just was already there. So I mean, I don't know, but yeah. I mean, but like I said, but we don't know why it was doing that. Like it was just screaming down. So it was just something that RTD wants to go for the emotion rather than sometimes the reason. Like so, and this is just something that he does a lot, which is fine. I don't have any problem with it.
Maybe he finally took the brakes off for a River Song.
Yeah, possibly there. What did you guys think of the CGI for Sutek in this?
It actually wasn't half
the
bad.
jackal.
Yeah, the jackal.
It wasn't half bad.
Judy saw it. Of course, Judy saw it, and she went, "Doggy!" So,
I would have much preferred if he'd come out on a throne, and as he stood up, you saw a small hand holding the cushion down, because that's a throwback to Pyramids of Mars.
Of course. Of course.
I would have preferred.
Yeah, the jackal was pretty cool.
I think it gives a lot more to the original mythology, though. Seth was considered kind of more of a beastly type thing, and so to have him be smoke and mirrors, and to have the head coming out that way, and to want to be crowned the way it was crowned, it hit to original Egyptian mythology for all of that. So I think visually it was amazing when it came to that part of it.
And I like the way it's wrapped around the TARDIS. I mean, it's hugging the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's like, this is mine. This is not yours anymore, Doctor. This is mine.
It's almost feeding off of it.
Mm-hmm.
The poor TARDIS, man. She cannot get away from all these guys feeding on her.
It was another one of those moments for me with Lethbridge Stewart that I was like, I had to remind myself it was CGI, because her actress was able to really carry that, like, you believe she was staring at this giant demon dog in her face. I was like, because the CGI was good, and then like she able to kind of sell it where you're like, it didn't feel like I'm looking at a tennis ball that happens to have little ears on it. It was oh no, she looks terrified. Like that was, but
and at the same time, the Ncute's giving a great performance as the Doctor, realizing who he's up against, and his face. Even if you don't know who Sutek is, he is selling the heck out of it. Like this is like they do this close up on him, and I thought because usually after close-ups like this, the character usually says, "Oh shit." Like, and I thought, are we going to get our first curse word in Doctor Who ever? But then all he says is, you know, I got the wrong anagram, and I'm like, that's not even an anagram. But yeah. So, but his face said it. He didn't even need to say it out loud.
No, exactly.
Because his face alone was just so wonderfully selling it.
Yep. So it was real interesting to see. There's so much set up for this next episode, and you know, Friday can't get here quick enough and everything, and it's just like I'm just like chomping at the bit to watch it already. It's like 7 p.m. on Friday. I think I will be in front of my computer watching this thing. So
this Friday will be the best day and the worst day because we'll get the season finale, but we'll also be without another episode the following
until
Friday.
Christmas. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it might also be the best and the worst because it's going to be, from what I understand, it's going to be pretty emotional. When I know some people think I'm shilling the official podcast, but I listen to it and I watch it, and so there were two things on there that they sort of breadcrumbs, if you will, for the upcoming episode. And the first was by Bonnie Langford, who was on talking about Mel, and they asked her to if she could sort of give out 3 words for the finale. What would she use? She used epic, exciting, and heartbreaking. And when asked about RTD about the finale, he said, in addition to everything else that's going on, he said, somewhere on a distant planet far away is a kind woman with something vital.
Okay. So who knows? I don't, you know,
make of that what you will.
I'm so not going down that path because you know what? We'll see. We'll believe it when we see it, as I like to say. And you know what? I think it's going to be a ton of fun for all of us. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up for tonight? Because, you know, I think we've covered quite a bit. And
we get to, how many points did we get for you in your 74, Mike?
Out of my 74, we got about 20 of them. So
we haven't done the Pantheon of Gods. I should just
go for it. Out. Let's do the Pantheon of Gods. You want to do it, Charles?
Sure. So Sutek, clearly.
Of course.
Right at the top there, we've already had the Toy Maker, God of Games.
Right.
I was personally, as a huge Sarah Jane Adventures fan, I was thrilled to hear the Trickster mentioned in proper Doctor Who. And we, you know, that mysterious person carrying, as somebody else pointed out, could be the Trickster. And God of Traps, Maestro, the God of Music, Reprobate, the God of Grumpy Old Men. No, wait, Spite.
Same thing. It's okay.
Yeah. Reprobate. The Mara, the God
first time in a long time the Mara has been brought up.
The Mara. Well, let's hope they've got that inflatable snake somewhere in storage.
Yeah.
Because we may have to dig it out again. Let's see. There was a threefold deity of malice, mischief, and misery.
Right.
Taken straight from, I think, Christmas Carol.
Yep.
But anyway, Incensor, the god of disaster. The children of Incensor, Doubt and Dread. And then finally, there was a reference, but not a name, attached to the gods of skin and shame and secrets.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get anything for that.
That's just me at the beach. That's
yeah. Don't look under there. You know, you might find something.
So white, so pale.
You live in British Columbia. Nobody goes to the beach there. You know.
True.
But
even though we have some.
Exactly. So it's pretty cool. Any other final thoughts to any of the other crew? Anything you know, I don't want to even start bringing what we're looking for or predictions for next week. I am not doing that because
that could go on forever.
Yeah, exactly. So let's not even go with that. We are not rating this week. We are going to rate it as a whole next week. and we'll have Charles, Shannon, and Chip email us what their ratings are for this episode and also next week as combined, because I think that's the best way to do it, because, you know, we can love the story. You know, we had one during the Capaldi era where we got introduced to Missy in the first part of the final, and it was awesome, and how they were bringing the Cybermen back and everything. And then that next episode we got Cyber Brigadier, and I almost dropped Doctor Who. So, you know,
you begun this podcast and you ended this podcast mentioning
damn
Cyber Brigadier.
straight.
How dare you? How dare you?
Well, it was a unit story, so it's worth it right there.
No, that should never
it's
be
never
mentioned.
worth it.
No, that's like that should be he should who not be named. Like that should go on that list.
Yes. Well, I'm waiting for Richard E. Grant to show up next week, so it's okay. So we'll see.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So I'll be very curious to see what we got, folks. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you guys at home have thought. Please, as always, write us. And we did get another email, so let me bring it up real quick, from Elizabeth Laney. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you once again. She wrote, "Greetings, ESW crew. I'm continuing to enjoy your commentary on the new season of Doctor Who. Although it really was a mistake to listen to your review of 73 Yards near bedtime one night. I got freaked out just listening to you guys talk about the old woman following Ruby around and couldn't go to sleep."
Aww.
Sorry, Elizabeth. All right. 73 Yards and Dot and Bubble were great episodes, but also very disturbing. I thought Rogue was a fantastic follow-up and palate cleanser. Like many of the episodes this season, it had tightly commentary, and even if it was on the mania surrounding Jane Austen-esque TV dramas. I love the Doctor having a romantic interest. I thought Judy and Jonathan Groff played well off each other, even though it really seemed as if Judy made his own chemistry and could successfully romance a phone book if he wanted to. Touche. I agree completely with that.
Facts.
Not wrong.
Nope.
Not wrong.
I thoroughly enjoyed Rogue after 2 previous episodes with darker messages. All in all, there have been many great episodes where I was a bit judgy about watching that, but then I realized I was having a great time nonetheless. It's great to be loving this new series and new Doctor so much. Stay safe up there on the station, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it. So, awesome, most folks. A little bit of podcast news is for those folks who like listening to us on audio, we are now up on YouTube as an audio podcast on top of the video podcast. So you can listen to us both ways. So it's pretty cool. So
we do not live up to your whatever you thought we looked like in your imagination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you enjoy
that's
the
what
show,
they look
but
like.
really would rather not see us, then you
you're
have
probably better
an
off, frankly.
You now have an out and everything.
You have an option.
So, exactly. But folks, it's been a blast to do it and to join and talk about this one. Let's thank our crew for being here tonight. Charles, you made it through your first episode with us, my friend.
Yes, I really appreciate that, and I'm very happy to be on with you guys. It seems like a very good mix of opinions and views, and that's what I love.
Anything you want to promote, your stuff or anything?
You can find me at the Chazbah, CHASBAH.com. I write album reviews, movie reviews. Right now I'm doing a bunch of the CD box sets because apparently the kids have gone back to vinyl. I don't get it. And who knows?
It's cool.
I'll be doing 8-track reviews by the year 2030. Anyway, I do a lot of reviews, and you can find them there.
Awesome. And Shannon, you have a nice new podcast to talk about.
I do. So I am now the host of a wonderful little podcast called Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. It's a little spooky, a little bit kooky, and a whole lot of fun. I've got 2 amazing co-hosts, and we just sit there and we just talk all things horror. We actually just had Mike on here recently for an episode that we'll be releasing in July. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Just don't go swimming when you listen to it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Stay away from the beach.
Yeah, I would recommend that. So, and Chip, thank you,
on the 4th
sir.
of July.
Thanks for having me.
Anything you want to promote or anything, or any cons or anything? Any appearances?
Not. I got a 6-month-old at home. Our trip out of the house is severely. I'm kind of like third doctor in unit right now. I'm really not allowed off the earth.
That is awesome.
So yeah. But
no, understandable. And let's thank our regulars, of course. Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you as always.
Oh, thank you. God, it's exciting to have great Doctor Who to talk about again. There's my next Chibnall Bash.
Of course. That's
I've been
okay.
loving
Actually,
this
the
season
Chibnall
so
Bashes
much.
weren't that big tonight. I was shocked.
Yeah, we got more important things to talk about.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, we had a really good episode to talk about.
You need to put a little counter on the screen with like Chibnall bashing and Cyber Brigadier, just little counters on the side of the screen.
Exactly. No.
When you do this.
Cyber Brig, we do not know that we don't need that counter.
It could
No
work.
more Cyberbrig.
No more. I promise I will not bring them up till next week. All right. So there you go. Mary, where can people find your artwork?
You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. And Mr. Mike Gordon, we've made it through another one, my friend.
We did. And as always, it's my pleasure. And yes, I mean that too.
Yes, he does mean it. It's not sarcastic, folks. He actually does mean it. So it's a good thing. So what's going on with the Dragon Con report? We got a new one coming.
We got a new one coming. Yes, as we are recording this, we are going to record the newest episode this week, and we are talking with the folks at BCW, the wrestling folks there. So that is our June episode, and then we're already prepping our July episode as well. Yeah, it's going to be here less than 80 days away, so we are counting down.
Wow.
It won't be any time at all before Dragon Con is upon us.
Yay. Yay. And of course, you could find Dragon Con report wherever fine podcasts are found, and of course, it's part of the ESO network. So it's pretty cool stuff. Folks,
Proud member.
Always great to listen to you guys talk to us, and with my friends, to be able to talk Doctor Who is always a blast for me. And it's like, as soon as I watch this one, it was like almost like 1 a.m. when I got done watching the first time. And it's like, I wonder if Mary and Mike are up. I wonder if Mary and Mike are up. It's like I wanted to, so I bothered Faulkner instead. So because I saw he was online, and so it was pretty funny. It was always great to be so excited about this, and the final is here. So we are coming very quick to it. A little side note: we are going to be doing a live episode of Earth Station Who coming up again. We are going to be doing our season wrap up of Earth Station Who. So we should be bringing that to you. I think right now we have it tentatively scheduled for, it is, as we talk, we are doing the series wrap up on July 9th, which is a Tuesday night. So basically it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it'll be up on YouTube Live. It'll be on Facebook Live. So, and I'll try to have it in all the different groups, and it'll be nice. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, because it'll be nice. I think we're going to be able to look back after next week and go, okay, this episode makes sense for this. This makes sense to this. This is why we were getting, basically all the different versions of Susan popping up through each episode. I hope we get those answers, or we'll have to wait and see. I'll be very, very curious. But until then, my friends, my name is Mike Faber, and on behalf of everybody here, thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. I know there's a ton of Doctor Who podcasts up there, but you know what? We're the best. That's what I like to say. And we have as much fun as we can. So please, thank you. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors to join us for the big final next week. That's right, brother. It's going to be awesome. So we'll see you then. Peace, and we are done.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
Love music from rock to soul, from prog to rap, from funk to metal, from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now? Then check out Modern Musicology Podcast. Join hosts Alan, Stephanie, Anthony, and Rob for a wide variety of topic discussions and interviews with musicians, producers, authors, and more. As always, keep rocking on.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.